suck off the system.
They have been oppressed. They have not been given.
But there's always filthy animals.
You're calling people of color black animals.
Can you shut your mouth for a minute?
No, racism is not okay. Do you know how many?
No, shut up.
No.
Can you shut your mouth for a minute?
No.
Meet Haley C. She's a teen TikToker who's part of this challenge where Gen Z white kids film themselves having discussions about race with their parents. And suddenly you see why this country is so backward, oppressive, and regressive. Afterwards, I'm going to play a clip from another one of these videos, this time from a Latina, and you won't believe what her mother tells her. For now, let's have a listen to Haley and her racist parents.
Do you know how many?
No, shut up.
No.
Can you shut your mouth for a minute?
No.
Because I actually work in the ghetto. I see the people.
Do you know why they're in that
physically go and I
position?
see these people.
Do you understand the systematic
They
and
get all
historical
kinds
reason
of
for why they're in
chances
that
and
position?
They don't care. All they want to do is be ghetto.
No.
Yes, there's some that don't, and there's good people.
No.
And then there's most of them just want to suck off the system or do something bad like drugs or gangs. And that's all they
They
care
have
about.
been oppressed. They have
It
not been
doesn't
given
matter.
the
They
same
get the
opportunities
chances.
you have
Yes,
had.
they do, and there's plenty of black people.
No, they
There's
don't,
plenty
Dad.
There's plenty of
And you not
minorities.
recognizing that as an issue is the reason why it's still continuing today.
I see them all over. There's all kinds of successful people that are of color. It doesn't matter what color, brown, white.
But it's a lot
orange,
harder for
yellow.
them to get to that
It doesn't
position.
matter. When they do, they're fine. But there's always filthy animals. And that
You're calling people of color black
No.
animals. You're calling them animals.
I'm talking. You didn't let
Are
me
you
finish.
kidding me?
You didn't let me finish.
That's not okay.
talking about the
No,
trigger
no
part,
matter what,
too.
that's not okay. No matter what, it's
It
not
is
okay.
okay.
Racism is not okay. Why do you think that racism is okay?
Oh, that's mine.
Haley, I'm gonna look at.
mine.
No, I'm looking at
That's
statistics
my
right
medal. I
now.
gotta get a necklace.
Your statistics they can be warped. Statistics can be warped. You want me to show you videos?
So why are my-
Do you want me to show you videos of cops? I will do
why
it.
is statistics wrong?
Because they can be
Right.
warped. I'm not giving statistics right now. They can be warped. Personal experiences can't.
No, because this is actually putting it into play. When you
Wearing it?
Do I need to show you a bunch of videos of cops attacking
That's your
protesters,
problem.
peaceful
All you do
protesters?
is watch
listen,
that
listen
shit.
to this. This is the number.
You mean I'm informed and educated?
You're not though.
Yes, I
You're
am.
one-sided informed.
Yes.
Mom, I was watching political stuff and you said to turn that off because you don't want to hear about it.
Because
That
I'm
means that
sick
I
of
am
hearing it.
educated
I'm
on it and
sick
you
of
are not.
hearing it. I'm sick of hearing it.
The fact that you can have that ignorance,
Really,
ignorance for the majority is bliss.
Okay, so-
Ignorance for the minority
So I'm
is
looking at statistics
destruction.
that are wrong. This is just pure wrong information out there.
Just give me the statistic.
In 2017, 457 white people were shot to death by the police in the United States.
Okay.
223 were black.
76% of the population is white. 13% is black.
I
If-
get that.
If they were being killed at the exact same rate by police officers, the rate of black people being killed would be 8.9. But it's not. It's 24%. The rate of white people being killed should be about where it is. So they're being killed at a higher rate. There's more white people, meaning that the amount of people killed by cops who are white would be higher.
The reaction of the person. I'm not saying
Because
it's,
they're
I'm
tired.
not saying it's
They're tired
right.
of being treated
I'm
that
not
way.
saying it's right.
Good.
But if they started teaching them that this is the world that we live in, you don't want to be killed. Why do you think your friend's father taught him that?
Because
He
so that
that
his
he-
black son doesn't end up dead like Tamir Rice.
Because he doesn't want him to grow up with the chip on his shoulder that
He doesn't
no
want
police
his black son to end up dead.
Exactly.
That's not okay. Why do you think that's okay?
Because
Why is it something that you're okay with? Why is that a reality that you're okay with?
I'm okay with it.
But you are.
No, I'm not. I'm
So
saying,
stand against it. So stand against it. If you're not okay with it, so stand
you wanna know
against
when I'll
it.
stand against it? When the black people in the ghetto stop carrying an illegal weapon. When the black people in the ghetto stop murdering each other.
I'll start caring about cops when they stop killing black people.
I'll start caring about black people when they stop killing cops.
Okay, knockouts, let's jump into it. It took me a few days to even cover this story because I'm tired. You know, I'm tired. I'm tired of the tone-deaf, quote-unquote, colorblind, history-dumb white person in America whose complacency and their silence makes them complicit to the status quo. I'm so sick and tired of people who think that a racist is some evil person with 2 teeth toting a shotgun down in the South. When there's so, look, even Jane Elliott says any white person born into this white supremacist system is going to come out racist unless you actually go in and do the self-work, self-examine. You know, I'm just give this little anecdote and then we're going to jump into the rest of the video, but I realized in 2016 how intrinsically racist America is when I went to California and I saw that from coast to coast, from ghetto to ghetto across the United States, it was just inhabited by black people, majority black with broken down structures. And I thought to myself, how is it that people are sitting by so silently while there are groups of people who are subjugated and relegated to the ghettos? And this clip right here, it made so much dawn on me, like when the father was like, he works in the ghetto and these people just want to be, there are people who think that black people want to be in the ghetto. They discount the redlining and the biased lending policies. They discount the freaking 100 years of terror where white terrorists in this country terrorized black people, even though we had pulled ourselves up from our bootstraps, and they went from town to town burning down what black people had made and built. And so it's like, it's also convenient that now we just sit down on our white duffs and we just say, oh, well, you know, those Negroes, they want to be like that. They're filthy animals. Did you hear him? Filthy animals. And I'm sitting here, and this clip particularly hurt so much because there's a child. How old does she look to you? She can't be more than what, 15, 16 years old? And she herself has been educated more than her parents, and her parents are hollering and screaming their biases and their racist ideologies, talking about sucking off of the system, using that old racist trope. There are plenty of black people who are successful, and that's what they love to hear. They love to hear the one little Negro miracle story of the Negro who made it. Oh yes, see, there can't be any racism because one Negro had to scrape, climb, crawl, bust up his fingernails, ankles, and toenails, break his damn back on his own to be able to get to where it is that they are. And they use that one success story to be like, well, all African Americans should be able to do that. And look, I'm a successful African American woman, and I know for a fact that not everybody can do what it is that I do, can do what it is that I have done. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur, but I also come from a family where my father is not an American black man. So I came from a different paradigm where there was more that I felt was possible because of the environment in which I grew. Now, what about the people, you know, even if there's white supremacy in this country, you don't think that there's black inferiority? That there are people who have been programmed into thinking that they are what these people say that they are? Because if there are white people out there who think that this is what black people are, can you imagine what black people may think of themselves? And they use things like, oh, I'll start caring about black people when they care about themselves. No, that's not how it works. Black people have this chronic self-abusing, self-killing behavior, these attitudes, because of white supremacy. Because if you don't think that they are SHIT, imagine they don't think they're SHIT either. And this is where the whole problem is it's just so complex. And then the woman is talking about, oh, the guns in the ghetto. Even using words like ghetto, this is where the Jews were relegated in Nazi Germany. It was called the ghetto. And I think it's perplexing. It's so profound that in this country, we are using this same word to talk about where black people are relegated. It's just, it's bizarre. And we already showed the video of the guy who talked about how in Chicago, there would be crates of exquisite, just exotic guns with crates of bullets to go along with it, just dropped off in the alleys of Chicago that they came across when they were children. And it's just, this particular video was hurtful to me because the young girl is so young and she's taken it upon herself to, or at least she has received the education and the knowledge. She knew who Tamir Rice was. And her parents, remember what the father said, he works in the ghetto. And I'm like, these are the people, the stealth people who live among us, or who work among us, work with our children, who work in the hospitals and the car dealerships and the banks and the police forces, who harbor these intrinsically racist ideas, and they don't think and know that they are racist. They just think that it is the way that it is. If you think that there's something about being born with brown skin that makes a person want to be in the ghetto or want to quote unquote suck off the system and all of this other stuff, you have racist ideas that have been taught to you. And unless you do the work to combat those ideas, it's going to stay in you. And the worst part about this video is that the parents were arguing with this girl that she's the one who's ignorant. And then there's a child in the background. This story hurt me so much because I see and I know and I feel how much this girl is up against. Arguing with her parents being the authority figures, the people who are supposed to know so much around her. And then there was a baby in the background. And it just makes me wonder how many other households are there out there where the parents are beating into their children racist ideas and ideals, and they don't even know that they're beating that into their children. They're just absorbing it. And in the moment that somebody veers from the status quo, they're beat down by their parents emotionally, psychologically, and they come up with all of these different reasons for why their children should also go along with the racist status quo. This racist father actually called human beings filthy animals, not just animals, because Dr. Joy DeGruy, she talked about how if they had seen a dog laying in the street harmed, if somebody had seen a dog with a knee on their neck till the dog got choked out and died, that people would have more sympathy and empathy for the dog than they do a black human being. And this is part of the issue right there, because they don't see black people as fully human. And part of the reason that I'm tired is I'm sick and damn tired of having to plead our humanity to these people. I mean, the information is out there, and it has gotten to the point where I'm like, look, I don't care whether or not you see me as human. Let's move forward, right? So the mother is saying she'll care about black people when they stop killing each other, when they stop carrying guns that, as we talked about, are being planted in the black community. Killings, and listen, the quote-unquote black on black crime is a racist trope that is pushed, that's like, oh, well, why don't black people care about themselves? Look in this country. There is something funky and evil that has descended upon this, that emanates from this godforsaken country, that makes black people on this soil hate themselves. And it's high time that we started looking into why, damn it, why? Why is it that, what is it about American soil that is infecting the black people on it thereof? Come on, let's talk about it. She talks about how she'll start caring about black people when they stop killing police. Really? It's like, where are these people getting these ignorant ideas from? Let's look into it. How many police are actually killed by black people? Whenever people start making crime claims, just know that there are resources out there for you to check this yourself. So just go to FBI.gov. You can type into Google and just type the word FBI for whatever it is that you want to know, and then take a look for yourself. The mother makes a claim that black people are killing cops, law enforcement officers killed and assaulted. Let's click on that and see what we come up with, okay? The Yoka program. All right, so they talk about the different stats, how many police officers are killed. Okay, so you see, as of 6/4/2020, 24 law enforcement officers have been reported feloniously killed in 2020. During the previous year, for the same time period, 19 officers were feloniously killed. So let's take a look at who are these officers, how are they getting killed, where are they getting killed, etc. And what are the criteria? So as we see right here, there's a graph, 2020 to date, 2019, same time. So as you see, 2020 to date, there have been 19, look, 19 felonious murders, 15 accidental. So that's 24 altogether. So what is it that they mean by accidentally killed? So motor vehicle crash. So there have been 10 from motor vehicle crashes, 5 from responding to emergency, 4 from patrolling, 1 from engaging in a vehicular pursuit. There have been 5 pedestrian officers struck by a vehicle. 1 was assisting and investigating an abuse. You could just read it yourself. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's go over to the felonious side and see what they consider felonious, right? Officers feloniously killed, weapons used. 3 officers were killed with a vehicle. 16 officers were killed with firearm, 8 rifle, 5 handgun, 3 not reported, right? These are the different situations in which they were killed. Then it shows where they were killed, where they were feloniously killed. All right. So in the West, 7 feloniously killed, 1 accidentally killed. In the Midwest, 3 feloniously killed, 2 accidentally killed. In the South, 12 accidentally killed, 8 feloniously killed. And in the Northeast, feloniously killed, 1 accidentally killed, 0. In Puerto Rico, 0, 0. All right. So when we look at this map, who are the people that are killing the police officers? Are they black people? So when we start looking at where the majority of black people live in the U.S., the majority of African Americans live in 10 states. New York and Chicago are cities with the largest black populations. So when we look at where about black people killing police, what do the numbers show us? If anything, in a place like New York, which has been riddled by stop and frisk, and there's really heavy tension between the people of New York and the cops, you would think that the majority of cops would have been killed in a place like New York, right? But look, feloniously killed, 1. And then with Chicago being the next city, you would think that majority would have been in Chicago, the second majority, right? No. Feloniously killed 3, accidentally killed 2. And then so in the South, we have 8 felonious, 12 accidental. In the West, 7 felonious, 1 accidental. So when black people get this stereotype of being cop killers, where are black people killing the cops at? Look at the numbers. Follow the details. And if we're going to look at the Northeast as a whole, the Northeast is comprised of many different states. We're talking about Maine, majority white, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Vermont, Rhode Island, New Hampshire. All of these states are majority white. So that 1 police officer that was killed in the Northeast, how much do you want to bet that he was killed in one of these majority white places? So how is it that black people all of a sudden got this rap as these ravenous cop killers? Let's take a look and see what we discover when we try to find out how many black people are killed by police each year. So we discovered that there is no federal database for how many people are killed by the police. There's a database for how many police are killed, but when you start looking for a federal database for what the people are suffering at the hands of the police, you find out that there is no federal database. The Washington Post in 2015 took it upon themselves, let me find that tab. The Washington Post took it upon themselves to start looking into the numbers, and they found out that, look at this right here, look, that the FBI undercounted fatal police shootings because police departments volunteer that information. So as we were looking, we went to and we found these stats by Statistica, right? And on the Statistica site, look, 2017, 457 whites, 223 blacks. Then look at the unknown. Scroll down to the unknown. This is what I'm saying. You got to follow the details. The unknown in 2017 was 84. Let's jump forward. 2018, 399, black 209. Then we got 2019. Look at how the numbers for whites continue to go down. However, the numbers for black people getting killed continues to go up. But another thing that goes up, which looks very fishy to me, is that all of a sudden by 2019, look, in the other category, in the unknown category, Now we have 202 people. So in 2017, when a lot of these murders started coming out to the forefront and people started speaking out about it, the race of 84 people were unknown. But in 2018, 202 of them were unknown. Then we have, in 2018, 204 of them were unknown. 2019, 202 of them were unknown. So, remember the stats that we saw a few years ago, which talked about how every 28 hours a black person is killed by the police in the United States. So what we end up having here now is wondering what's going on with the data. Why all of a sudden are we now unaware of the race of people who are dying now that there are agencies that are looking into how many black people are actually killed? I'm going to look, you know what, let's do the math on it. 365 days in a year, when you multiply that by 24 hours in a day, we get 8,760 hours. In 2016, there were 312 black people who were reported as being killed by the police, which equals a black person being killed every 28 hours. Then, once wind got on of exactly how many black people were being killed, because remember, the stats started in, the Washington Post started in 2015 to begin to look into how many black people were actually killed, since there is no federal database. So now, remember, now we have the 202, which are quote-unquote conveniently unknown, right? And then if we add those to the 235 who are black, we get 437, right? So if we just go and we divide 8,760, which are the amount of hours in a year, divided by, what was the number we have for, was it 437? Or was it 439? 439. Okay. We're going to round it up to 20 hours. So every 20 hours, a black person and a conveniently race unknown person is killed by the police in the United States every 19 hours, compared to the 19 police officers killed in 6 months. If you want to know why people are upset, just take a look at this, right? If you look at these stats, I mean, if you just Google it and just look at it, it's horrifying. This right here, look at this. 99% of killings by police from 2013 to 2019 have not resulted in officers being charged. Not even convicted, but not even charged with a crime. And as you see down there, blue is for officers charged and the dark blue is for officers convicted. So out of 100, 99% are never even charged, and it looks like only 4 of them are charged, and out of the 4, only 1 of those is convicted. That right there is why people are upset, because there hasn't been any justice for the families of people who are the victims of police slayings. I wanted you all to take a look at this because the young lady in the video said that, I think she said about 76% of the people in America are white, but I wanted you to take a look at what the census really has to say. A few years ago when I looked into this, I think it was about 2005, America was 67.7% white. However, if you look at the numbers, if you don't really pay attention, you see that it says 76.5% are white alone, right? But if you scroll, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the list. Look, white alone, not Hispanic. Look at what we see. 60.4%. The numbers of white people in America are dwindling. This is why many people are feeling panic, they're feeling angst, because they see that their numbers are dwindling. So where did this 76% come from, and why is it all the way up at the top? Look, so much so, like when the girl was saying stats can be, altered and manipulated, sometimes people don't really follow the details. And this is why I'm telling you, knockouts, you got to follow the details. So if you see Hispanic or Latino at 18%, and then white at 60.4%, remember, Latino is not a race, it's an ethnicity. So we have now white people now trying to combine their numbers with white Hispanic people and get the numbers up to 76.5. But no, those days of the white, this looming white majority are dwindling down. And this is where a lot of the fear is coming from, because the numbers are not in the favor of white supremacy, of the white supremacist majority, because they say that by the year 2050 that we are going to be a majority, quote-unquote, minority land. And that's why a lot of people are talking about the quote-unquote browning of America. But let's jump back into the video. Let's just jump over to the calculator. So we have 19 officers killed feloniously. Divide that by 6 months. So we have 3 officers killed each month in the whole 50 of the United States. 3, and in the Northeast there's only been 1 in that whole time frame. So if we even go to the days, so we have 6, we're going to do an average of, let's say, 30 days. So that's 180 days in the 6 months. So we have, let's do the 19, no, let's go back. We have to do 180 days divided by 19. Right, no, we did that wrong. We have to do the 19 divided by 180 days. So we have 0.1 killed per day. So that's 1/10 of 1. So we have an average of every 10 days an officer is killed. On average, right? Which means that it is 10 times more dangerous for a black person to just exist in black skin, sitting at home, living their lives, walking down the street, than it is to be a professional police officer with a gun whose job it is to go out there and enforce the law. It is 10 times more dangerous for a black person to come into contact with a law enforcement officer than it is to actually be a law enforcement officer. Okay, so let's get into this extremely shameful, embarrassing dialogue between a Latina mother and her daughter. And I want you to pay very close attention to just the overall cowardice. Just listen to what it is that she says to her daughter.
Helping you getting all these ideas in your head, or I don't know what.
These ideas?
Well, yeah, or thoughts or whatever it is.
Come on. People are dying. People are dying. This is not an idea. This is a real thing.
Okay, it's people out there. What does it concern you is the thing.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
If
It's
you're
not your family. It's gonna happen. It's life.
That's not the way life should be.
It's not our fault. My God, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do my part to try to change it.
You're not gonna change nothing, Marissa. You're not gonna change nothing. My God, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with me?
Yes, what is wrong with you? There's nothing you can change. What are you gonna change? Really?
Wow, you know what? That was painful to listen to. It was excruciating because you hear the pain in a daughter's voice. She is in turmoil. The child is in pain. She's crying out for help because the world that we as adults have created for our children is not one in which they feel comfortable. And this is why there's so many young people who are depressed, looking for relief through medication, and suicidal. People are nihilistic and they don't have a reason to want to go on. And this mother is so embarrassingly just standing there asking her daughter to go along with the status quo. What does it concern you? It's going to happen. It's life. Really? No, death is not life. Murdering and injustice is not life. At least it doesn't have to be a part of our lives. And she's like, it's not our fault. And then the worst part to me was when she was like, you're not going to change nothing. And I'm like, wow, if it was her daughter that was out there that got a knee on her neck and choked out to the ground until her life slipped away in front of the cameras, She would want people to gather forward and do something about it. But she's just going to sit there in her complacency, just going along with the status quo. She doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. I can imagine that this is the same type of woman who was not down there at the border protesting for rights for the people who were in cages, even though they were Latino like her. And it's like, what are we expecting from our children? It's no wonder they're depressed. Look at what they have to contend with. And when they want something different, when they want justice and human rights for other people, they're shot down, gaslit, and otherwise muffled by their parents. And this is, it's a sad day. It's a sad day, but I commend these children's bravery. I commend them for speaking up and speaking out at how the world that our parents have created for us is not one in which we are going to sit by idly and endure, that we're going to make this world how we want it to be. And I'm you know what, I'm glad. Kudos to these young children for waking up, because goodness knows their parents are still asleep. Listen, I want to hear your thoughts below. This video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but please share the video, have some dialogue. I want to hear from you, and let's do a little survey. If you are one of the Caucasian people who are on my page, if you do not have any sexual or romantic interest in black people, and you are still fighting for the humanity of black people, I want you to put up the number 1. If you are fighting for the humanity of black people, however, you are in romantic relationship with or sexual relationship with, or a member of your family is in a sexual romantic relationship with a black person, please put up the number 2. And I want to hear from everybody else. What do you think that it's going to take for this to change, for this to end? I keep thinking, okay, well, when the older generations die out, then finally we'll have this new air, this new breeze. But these children are a little bit more awake than their parents. But what about all of the children who have been hypnotized and manipulated by their parents into also holding these racist ideals? What is it really going to take for this world, for this country as it is, to change? Tonya TKO, and I'm out. Peace. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, make sure that you subscribe, and hit the bell notifications to be notified of new videos. Leave a comment below, share the video, and come over to TonyaTKO.com to subscribe to my personal mailing list and drop me a message of a viral story that you'd like for me to cover. See you on the other side. Peace.
Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Lord Einstein, and also on Twitter at Lord Einstein. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, and also don't forget to share this video to your friends. Thank you.